be with me, I will treat you like a Maharani,
That
a
is
great
like
queen.
That is like so Asian drama.
Yeah.
It's so Asian drama.
Hi, I'm Pao,
And I'm Simi, and this is seapopcast,
a Southeast Asian pop culture podcast.
where we talk about all things pop culture from this corner of the world.
So today, what are we talking about?
We're going back to your roots.
Ooh, yes, we are. I don't know if people have noticed. I'm sure they have. We've always been talking about Thailand up to this point.
Yes.
Because as we said,
It's like the biggest in Southeast Asia at
Yes.
the moment, I would say.
and the most viral, I would say,
Yeah,
most trending.
Probably.
It always manages to capture our attention, my timeline. I don't know.
Correct.
The algorithm just feeds me Thai.
And it's also, I think, what really inspired us to make this
Exactly,
podcast,
because
you
we were
know?
like, oh, actually, finally, something that's
Southeast
not Hollywood.
Asia's happening.
Yeah.
But today we're mixing things up.
Yes.
And we're going beyond Thailand.
Yes. We're finally gonna try to visit Philippine pop culture because that has
Yay.
been up and coming. My uncle, when I was like 15 or 16, he mentioned this in passing. This has nothing to do with pop culture or music or the music industry or whatever. I think this was just like economically because, you know, they always talk about the economy.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
But he did mention the fact that in 10 years, just wait and see, the Philippines will be where Thailand is now. And that was like around 10 years ago.
Right.
But watch Thailand, it will be where South Korea was. And I was
Okay.
like, oh.
And it's kinda true.
And then, yeah, so then looking back now, I'm like, okay, I think he was onto something here.
Yeah,
I'm like,
definitely.
so I am seeing a trend where like, so before South Korea was just a regional player, now it's an international player.
Yeah.
Thailand's emerging as the regional player,
Yeah.
and the Philippines is becoming, it's filling the shoes where Thailand was. So I'm like, oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah.
I can clearly see it. Even if it's not in the broader economy,
Yeah.
I see it in like the pop culture scene.
For sure.
So even when I've heard like Jeff Satur talk about the rise of Thai music, he didn't just say it's Thai music, it was Asian music as a whole. And the reference that he gave was, look at SB19's Gento, which is,
Right.
I think it's a trending TikTok song. If you look at a lot of the trending TikTok songs, a lot of them are from Philippine artists also.
Yeah, which I think like I don't necessarily realize.
Yeah, even I don't realize. And I was like, oh, it's like it only takes like accidental clicks to realize, oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I did not know that.
Gento was-
Yes, is from the Philippines.
Yeah.
So.
So there's this song by this artist called Shadi,
Okay.
and he got like trending famous because of his song called LDR. And then it took a while because the chorus is in English, and then when you hear the verse, I was like, oh, it's in a Filipino language. It's in like, I think Cebuano or Bisaya, because that's where this artist is from. Finally, not Manila. It's just because if you grow up in the Philippines, like everything's from Manila, everything is in Manila. Like,
It's nice when it's from a different place.
yeah, it's finally, yeah. This song Shadi is one example where I was like, oh wow, okay, like it's bigger than I first thought.
Right.
And this was only like a couple months ago.
I'm sure there'll be more.
There'll be more.
Yeah. So I want to know how was Filipino music when you were growing up?
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, it was very Western for me because of just my family's habits. My mom was a big fan of Friends. I grew up on like Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Spice Girls.
Right.
But I didn't live in a vacuum. So obviously, my helpers would listen to Filipino music. I would listen to it on the radio when it would trend. The biggest Filipino music scene when I was growing up, it's called OPM, or like original Pinoy music. I am by no means an expert in OPM. I did not really listen to it growing up. I think my parents were more into OPM. Yeah, again, I was just raised more Western by my media wise. I was raised more Western. When I was a kid, it was a lot more not my style because it was all rock bands and alt,
Okay.
very alt rock. Off the top of my head, one of the most famous ones I could think of is this one called Noipi by Bamboo. So Noipi by Bamboo is very much about hope and overcoming like poverty and like the Filipino spirit.
And do you feel like a lot of the Filipino music when you were growing up had that theme, or was it just...
Not necessarily, but because I feel like Filipino music when I was growing up got a bit more patriotic for some reason. I remember there was two. So there was this one and there's another one when I was growing up. Oh, you know Big Brother?
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember besides Noipi, Pinoy Big Brother, the Filipino version of Big Brother, became famous around like 2003, 2004, I think. Their theme song, it's by this another like alternative rock band called Orangeandlemons, and it's along the same lines of like, hey, I'm Filipino, show it to the world, be proud of who you are. So and a lot of Filipinos do say that. There's a lot of like Filipino pride. Sometimes it's a bit too much, but sometimes it's appropriate. Yeah. I do feel like in the international stage, growing up at least, the Philippines was very underappreciated and under the radar at times.
Right.
Because if you think about the globalization of like Southeast Asian culture, everyone knows what Thai food is. Everyone knows what pad Thai is. Everyone knows what Vietnamese food is. Banh mi, pho. But if you ask like the average, especially the average like Westerner, like what's Filipino food? They're like,
they don't know.
They don't know. So then the Philippines is always kind of like under the radar, unless we're like important at that specific point in time to what America wants. We're not really. Yeah. So I think it's great that we're now making an actual name for ourselves on an international stage, where like a lot of like international youths are now like embracing and spreading Filipino culture,
which is definitely nice.
Which is great.
Okay, so how did you get into P-pop?
So I got into P-pop from this group called they're the biggest P-pop group. They're called SB19. Their first song, Go Up, like their debut song, was the first song that I saw because my sister linked it to me.
Right.
And this was at the time when I was already established in K-pop, but I was like trying to venture out to different like markets. I think I was getting into like K-poppy J-pop at that time.
Okay.
So I was like, I was showing her, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh no, but look at this. So she pushed me
Go Up,
which is a very K-poppy P-pop. So SB19 isn't necessarily the first like Pinoy pop group. There have been different like projects throughout the years. They just never became a thing, I think. Maybe like the very limited fan base, not a lot of fanfare.
Maybe very like local.
Yeah, very local, very niche. So SB19 became a bit more known because they're the first Philippine group that was trained by a Korean company.
Oh, interesting.
I think they're the kind of like the guinea pigs of P-pop because they're the first to be, at least from what I know, they're the first to be introduced through the Korean system of training.
Right.
It's the reason why K-pop is the way it is today. It's because of that system that they have.
Yeah.
So I think SB19 was the first one to kind of trial that.
Okay.
And it clearly was a big success because now they're touring. They've had North American tours.
Oh, nice.
Now they have regional tours here. So like they were supposed to have a show here in November, but I don't know what happened. It got canceled last minute.
Where are you gonna go?
No, it was sold out. I couldn't go. I wanted to get, but I was thinking about it. But then when I contemplated, it was already sold out. So there's And then I think they even went like Jakarta, Bangkok. So clearly it's like they're known even here. So
I think the K-pop training is quite visible in the video and the song. Like you can see it. Yeah.
That's very true.
It's one of those things where I look at it and I think, oh, this is just like K-pop. As somebody that doesn't really know
K-pop.
Yeah. And because I'm not the most familiar with Tagalog,
how it sounds, right?
Yeah, and how it sounds. Like if I watch this video, I know it's Southeast Asia and I know it's not Thailand, but I would not necessarily be able to pinpoint exactly.
Yeah, but
this is P-pop
because their debut song is just very like generic, like almost K-pop in style. What made them go viral is because they started to have more of like a more Philippine flavor to it.
Okay.
Their most recent and the most viral, because it's all over TikTok, is this one called Gento.
Okay, I've heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SB19 song called What was the first time they kind of experimented with double meanings. So like it's called What because in English it's like, I guess, like what do you think of me in a way. It's almost kind of like they're fronting. But when they sing it, they say wata wat, which means flag. Iwagay ang iyong wata wat, fly your flag. So it's almost kind of like Pinoy pride again.
But I like when groups do that. Because, I mean, this is like, no shade to any groups, obviously. But I feel like there's already so much of that K-pop sound just as it is out there. I think it's nice when groups add something different. It kind of differentiates them. There's something unique about this group.
Yeah. Speaking of trying to carve a name for themselves, I would say the next Pinoy pop group that like caught my attention is this one called Alamat.
Yes, which you've mentioned in a
mentioned.
previous episode.
Yeah. The reason why I love Alamat's branding so much is because their whole concept is representing the diversity in the Philippines. Not a lot of people know this. People think the Philippines is homogenous and they all speak one language and they're all, like, oh, you're Filipino, therefore you only speak Tagalog.
Actually, that's true. I feel like there's very little
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering how big the country is.
How diverse
and
it
how
is.
like you can find like people from the Philippines around the world.
Yeah.
But yet I feel that people don't really know too much about a country, which is, interesting.
Kind of sad. It's kind of sad also.
It is, and I can't really explain why that's the case.
It's a very complicated socio-economic
For sure. That's
reason,
always the answer, yeah.
But essentially, a lot of people don't know that the Philippines pre-colonization was not one group or whatever. We were more like individual tribes and kingdoms and all these things. And then it's only because of like colonization we were kind of grouped into one thing.
Yeah.
Essentially, the Philippines is like Southeast Asian groups that got colonized by Spain. That's really it. Like, if you actually look at like, if you go to like the border between Malaysia and the Philippines, the people there are more similar than they are to like the people in Manila, but they're still Filipino, but that's just because of colonization. Anyway, so like there are over like 100 languages spoken in the Philippines.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there are like 12 regional languages. We're almost like India in that way.
Okay.
Where it's like there's one main language because of, I guess it's easier to.
It's all
colonization. Blame colonization.
Yeah, it's colonization.
Going back to Alamat, the reason why Alamat is so interesting is because none of them are from the main ethnic group, the Tagalog ethnic group that everyone knows. They think that's the only thing the Philippines is.
Yeah.
One of them is Kalinga, so like they're from the mountain parts in the north. One of them is Kapampangan. The other one's from Zambales. Another one's from, I think they speak Waray, so they're from Samar or Leyte, somewhere there. Another one's from Davao, and they speak Bisaya. Did I cover everyone? Oh, another one's from Bicol. Yeah. So they're all from different parts.
And do you feel that the diversity when it comes to Alamat extends just beyond who's in the group, and do you feel that their music represents that?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's because at first what they tried to do is I thought it was a bit complicated because their earlier songs, you could tell that they were still trying to find their like style. But what they did was they all tried to represent where they each was from, and they would each verse would be in their own language.
Wow.
So I couldn't even understand the whole song. I could only understand like the Tagalog parts and the English parts. And they even have to have like hard-coded like subtitles just so that the average like Filipino can actually listen to it, because we don't all know each other's languages.
Okay, but I quite like this.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
This is like the opposite of like BTS coming out with all of these English songs to appeal to everyone.
Yes.
And like, I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with, that, but
I think it's just overdone.
It was overdone, and it was so obviously like cash grabby.
And pandering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very pandering.
Like, it did not sound like BTS anymore. It was, yeah.
For Alamat, they at first they started to do that. They all sang each other's languages. Like, I think one of the first songs I enjoyed was this one called Abacada, which is essentially like ABKD, which is like the Philippine alphabet, like how we use our alphabet rhyme. Okay. It was fun, but I think it was all over the place sometimes, and like the concepts kind of got messy because they all tried to fit like 12 ethnic groups into like into one music video or a song sometimes. So then I like what they're doing now is that they all still represent their own home regions, but what they do is they tackle it one at a time. I think it's a better concept because then at least they can even go beyond because there's only 6 of them in the group.
Yeah.
And there are not 6 ethnic groups in the Philippines. There are hundreds.
Of course, yeah.
So then at least here what they can do is they can one by one per release tackle something new.
Yeah.
So the first time I realized this was through the song Maharani.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean queen?
Yes, in Sanskrit or
yeah,
Hindi.
Yes, yeah. Sanskrit now, yeah.
Yeah, because of I had to research this actually. So then the concepts of like Maharajas and Maharanis came from India.
Yeah.
And it's because of the Philippines pre-Christianity, pre-Islam. We were Indianized. So then a lot of that kind of stuck. If you look at Philippine languages, they still have terms like queen, king, princess, prince that are Sanskrit.
Right.
So
okay.
like we have the concepts of rajas and stuff. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Maharani is about toxic relationships and also unrequited love. So then the song's just all about the main character and the singer is this guy who's like, why are you still with this like horrible guy who treats you wrongly? Be with me, I will treat you like a Maharani.
That
a
is
great
like
queen.
That is like so Asian drama.
Yeah.
It's so Asian drama. And the like when you watch the story take place in the music video, it feels like, oh yeah, I'm watching a show.
Yeah. What I like about Maharani is that they have so many elements from this one ethnic group called the Maranao people. The Maranao people are they're from the south and they're mostly Islamic right now. And they have a lot of influences from like Islamic culture and Indian culture because of history of interacting with Arab and Indian traders. And they feature the epic, I forgot what the epic is called, but the traditional dance is called the singkil, which uses like sticks. And it's like an epic poem that is performed, basically like a traditional dance. I don't know how to explain it.
Okay.
Not an anthropologist, but yeah. So then they have all these like elements, like even like the outfits that they're using, even the school uniform in the thing, like the tie has like Maranao prints.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I like how they can easily, with this concept, they can easily like go through all the ethnic groups in the Philippines, and it's always done in a very respectful way.
Okay.
It's never done in like a appropriation, you know.
I think it sounds like there's a lot of like thought put into it.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of thought put in the craft.
It's not just like, okay, we have a list. We need to check all the boxes on this list when it comes to representation.
They really do their research.
There's actually like thought put into it. And
exactly.
Yeah.
It's really
which is
cool.
good. Yeah, that's really good.
And the song Maharani, it's just so good. I don't know, it's the first song that I think this was pre my school president, and I was very just obsessed with this song in like January because the music video came out in January. So what do you think about the song?
I think it's good. I think it's cool. I definitely see what you mean in the music video about the like adding in the elements to make it a bit more, I guess, cultural, you know, than just like a generic pop music video, which is nice. Yeah, I mean, the song's good. It's cool.
Very catchy, right?
Yeah, it is catchy. It gets stuck in your head.
Yeah.
So we recommend it.
Yes,
Go listen to Maharani.
And also, it's very R&B.
It
it's
is.
not like pop.
No.
It's not like the SB19 song.
It's not, yeah. You really like Alamat.
I really like Alamat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, first of all, the songs are great. And like I said, it's still like relatable pop where it's like it's something you can jam to.
Yeah.
And they're just great songs. And then if you look at the lyrics, it's still about love. It's still about, you know, generic pop themes. But what I love is just the craft put into like the performance, the dance, even the choreography.
Right.
It uses like not just any Philippine ethnic group, but then if they're focusing on one ethnic group, they will take inspiration from the traditional dances from that ethnic group. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, so here it's about the singkil, right? Like the sticks.
Yeah.
The choreography has elements of like them dancing with sticks, or even them like using the fans, and like in the main choreography, like when they perform on stage, like their fingers do that like very Southeast Asian like thing. Yeah, it's really cool.
Interesting.
So we can't go through all P-pop groups today, but I guess one that you can't talk about is BINI. You know how I mentioned like the concept of like the nation's girl group. So like Girl Generation was in Korea.
Yeah.
And then I boldly said, I don't know if it's correct, that For Eve is the nation's girl group of Thailand. I would comfortably say that BINI is the nation's girl group for the Philippines because like they're still very generic pop.
Okay.
But they're doing it in such a like fun and cute way.
Mm-hmm.
If I think BINI, I think this is gonna be controversial, but they're kind of like the Twice of the Philippines. You know how K-pop is going through this whole like girl crush, badass girls, kind of concept. You know, think Blackpink.
Yeah.
So BINI is more like, I think that they're Twice. They're cute, but there's still some elements of like girl power in like the cute way.
Okay.
A lot of BINI songs are all they're very lighthearted, very hopeful. They're very cute.
Very colorful.
Very colorful.
That's the vibe that they have.
Yeah. So then the latest one's called Carrera, which means race. Mm-hmm. And basically it's saying how life is not a race. Don't have to be so in a hurry to do everything. Yeah. Take it slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're fun, I guess.
Yeah.
They have that vibe. Yeah. Okay, so that was very cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned a lot today.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of have a quick show and tell episode.
Yeah, this is like an introduction to P-pop
This
from
is
Pao's perspective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me, as a Filipino who didn't really grow up in the Philippines and is living abroad, this is the Philippine music I am exposed to.
Right.
And at least I'm exposed to some. Because growing up abroad, I barely got exposed to it. Unless my parents would like push me to like a specific like artist. There just wasn't a lot when I was growing up as a teenager. I'm just glad that there is now and that there's an outlet and that I'm just glad there's like hype surrounding like Philippine pop culture. It makes me proud, but also makes me like excited for like what is to come. Definitely this is not like all of Philippine pop.
No, I'm sure it's not.
There's a lot of Philippine pop that is just like Thailand, where it's just a lot of solo artists and like just big names that are just one person. Benjamin Keng, did he not do a song recently with a Filipino?
Yes, he did. He did. Yes.
James Reid, who shout out to my older sister who was like the biggest James Reid fan. So like my older sister was like a big James Reid fan since 2015.
Wow.
Yeah, she has a pillow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
She didn't get it. She got that as a Christmas present, but of course she still loved it.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, so James Reid's like a Filipino Australian actor who, after doing all the teen rom-coms, became, I think now he's doing a lot. James Reid did a song with B.I., who is a Korean R&B artist. He did a song with Benjamin Keng, who's a Singapore like recording artist.
Yeah.
Who was part of the Sam Willows.
Yeah.
So then seeing James Reid do all this, giving Thailand like 5 years ago when like, you know, Bright started appearing and everything. So then it's making me go like, so then I should look at the Philippines more now. Like, you know, like, I mean, I get that I still listen to a lot of Thai stuff, but it's my brain telling me to keep a radar on anything that comes out of the Philippines. Yeah.
For me, I would say I knew nothing about Filipino pop music,
which is fine.
Like before like you introduced it to me, but like what I definitely was not expecting was how different the groups that you showed me were. You know, because
like the diversity is like clearly sprouting.
Which is nice, and I think it's cool, and I'm sure there's so many other groups that we have not like.
Like this is just this is a learning journey.
Of course.
So
this is our introduction.
This is like, these are some of the groups that I listen to. I'm showing Simi, but please tell us more.
We'd be very excited to learn more. And if you have like recommendations for groups, we'd be so happy to hear them out.
So I guess thank you for listening and watching.
Yes, and
maybe like follow our socials if you want to keep seeing this.
And thank you, and we'll see you in our next episode. Bye.